All right, fig lovers, this is Ross the Fig Boss. We got a windy day here in the Philadelphia area. We're getting towards the end of our season right now, but we're doing a fig review today because this is a really special variety that I've been very patiently waiting to review. This variety is called Colonel Littman's Black Cross, and it is undoubtedly one of the best tasting fig varieties you can grow. And the reason I say that is because this is a fig that is right alongside another really special variety called Black Madeira. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about Black Madeira. What we know about Black Madeira is that it's one of the best tasting figs, has exceptional eating quality, it's late, but it struggles in the rain. And so I've made it my mission, like with a lot of the really good tasting figs, if they have problems, to find a replacement that's potentially better. Like take the Col de Dames as an example. Finding a better Col de Dames has been really important to me. And I think we've done that actually. We found a couple that I would put in the same class or even slightly higher than the classic Col de Dames. And the same thing can be said, I think, for this fig, Colonel Littman's Black Cross. It is, I think, a superior version to Black Madeira. But I think that only really applies to people in humid places. Now, if you're in a dry place, I wouldn't see a reason why not to grow this fig. But from what I've gathered is that there are other varieties like Italian 258, Black Madeira, of course, and Calderona, which are typically of a larger size, and therefore you're probably going to have, if I had the choice, I would probably choose those over the smaller version of it, which is the Colonel Littman's Black Cross. Now, I don't know exactly how small these are, but I've seen these typically, I guess, be a little smaller on average than Black Madeira. But that's a good thing. For us in humid places, that means that this has a better chance of actually producing a higher quality piece of fruit. And that's really why I wanted to grow this for so many years. I've been struggling to actually get it to fruit. We'll get into that in a minute. But for many reasons that I've seen across many other growers, not just my own experiences, this variety seems to be a much better choice for people in humid places. And again, it comes down to the size, the shape. Also, I noted even just this fig was in a ton of rain as it was ripening, and it looks completely flawless, like nothing had happened. Other varieties are splitting, other varieties are having problems. Well, this is on the tree, it's hanging, it's looking good, and we should have, I guess, a decent representation of this variety for us today. Now, the biggest problem with this that you'll hear about on the internet with this variety is that it takes a while to fruit. And the reason for that, I'm learning, and I've really learned this over the last few years, especially with Smith, is that it's about the hormones. Part of it is about sunlight, having adequate amount of sunlight, having the right form on your trees. That goes a long way to getting them to fruit. So that's a given. We have to have the right form, and this tree here, in a 5-gallon size pot, has that main trunk, and then it splits off into a V. But we have to have that open center to get that light into there. But the other part of this is we don't want to over prune our trees. Hard pruning in general is going to result in less fruits next season. Now it does depend on the variety. And so I would argue these are the two classic varieties, Smith and Colonel Littman's Black Cross, that if you over prune them, it's really hard to get good fruit set next year. Now you still can, it's just, especially with this one, who is such a problem, Colonel Littman's Black Cross, and if you're having problems with your Colonel Littman's tree, I would argue for the same thing. Just don't prune it. Make sure the form is right, bend the branches and open up that center. Put it in as much sunlight that you can possibly give it. And just leave the apical buds alone. Don't touch the tree because it's gonna just basically be in that hormonal balance if we leave it alone. If we don't, it's gonna forever just keep wanting to grow and not fruit. And you'll see, actually, maybe you can see it behind me. Yeah, there is. The Smith tree back there that's planted in the ground is 15 feet tall. We pruned it, and the cold actually pruned it all the way down to nothing. And I wasn't able to cover it or protect it well enough. Actually, I did protect it pretty well. But regardless, I pruned all the shoots down to nothing, and it responded the following year by growing 15 feet. The same thing will happen with this Colonel Littman's Black Cross. Trust me, I have one in the ground over there. The shoots are 10 feet tall. I dug one up I had in the greenhouse. It wasn't getting enough light. That was a Japanese espalier form, and that thing would grow easily if it could burst through the greenhouse. that would also be at least 10 feet tall. So it's just a matter, I think, a matter of hormones, and that's really all it is. You just got to be a little more patient with certain varieties than others, but there's no reason why I think by the third year you should be expecting good fruit set. If you're really good at this and you really know what you're doing, you could probably get fruits by the second year. But I would imagine mostly in that first or second year, it's going to be a little tough, and you may not get any fruit set unless you have like sunlight all day. So anyway, here's the fruit. Again, I'm really excited for this for the reasons I mentioned. Again, being a superior version to Black Madeira. By the way, shout out to my friend Strudel Dog, Phil. It's been a while since I've talked to Phil. If he's watching, I hope he's watching. You know what? The camera's really struggling today to focus because it's so dark out. But shout out to Phil. He was the one that, not the one he didn't find this exactly. Just Fruits and Exotics, a nursery in Florida, made this popular, this variety popular. But Strudel Dog really was the one to popularize it amongst collectors. There's a lot of history with this fig, and I guess I could go into more details about Just Fruits and Exotics and you know, the weird Just Fruits and Exotics Black Madeira not fig that existed and how strange that was. And we still really don't know what that is. Some people speculate that was actually Black Madeira, or actually Colonel Littman's Black Cross, not Black Madeira. And so Just Fruits and Exotics tried to sell Black Madeira in a commercial nursery setting, and they sent out something that was just not correct. They've since have corrected their mistake, but you know, there was a whole little fiasco with that, and a lot of people, including myself, speculate that those original trees that went out could very well be Colonel Littman's Black Cross. I also speculate that one of them, or some of them, could be LSU Scott's Black. We still really don't know what that is to this day. It's a bit of a mystery, but you look at the fig on the inside, it looks incredible. Now, I know just by looking at it, touching it, my intuition is telling me this is not the highest quality it can be because of the time in which we're ripening it. It's just too cold. You know, today is October, I think, 22nd or something. We're at the very, very end of the season, 21st. I put it up here on this deck that I have because the sun is so low in the sky now that it doesn't get past the trees, and the whole patio is mostly shaded for most of the day. So all the container figs just metabolically are very slow right now. The soil temperatures are what really controls that metabolic rate. And so if I can put the pots in the sun hits the pot, warms up the soil, and they increase their metabolism. By the way, the tree also barely has any leaves on it now. I pretty much forgoed watering any of the trees for the last like 3 weeks. And we did have a dry period, and a lot of the trees didn't like that. So we have just probably a mixture here of quality, but let's see if we get something good out of this. It does look pretty good. Yeah, it's missing the sugar component. You can tell there's a really nice berry flavor there. I know from other growers, this is definitely a very similar fig to Black Madeira. I can't really comment on that myself. You can taste this this really nice berry flavor coming through, but without the sweetness, it's actually slightly bitter. And so there has to be this bitter sweetness balance that you'll find with a lot of figs. I'm learning. The skin typically can be rather bitter, and that balance definitely actually keeps the sweetness in check. That skin can keep the sweetness from the pulp in check. Regardless, I'm really looking forward to more of these figs. I'm really hoping this year I can. There was a branch that I did manage to get through the wintertime on my in-ground Colonel Littman's. If I get it through the wintertime again, which I'll cut back all the really tall shoots, sell those as cuttings, but whatever is remained and has actually lignified well, hopefully they've lignified well, I will keep that and hopefully overwinter that. And if I can overwinter that as well as the Smith behind me, I don't see a reason why I can't have in-ground Smith and Colonel Littman figs off of those trees. And that would be incredible. This tree I'm going to keep. I may even, if I get another Colonel Littman's, I may put it in a pot as well, just to get more data on this variety. You know, there's still much more to learn. There's obviously a lot of other information out there on this, and I'm drawing from that. But from what I've experienced, I think it's true. This is just a superior version of Black Madeira, and especially for people in that rainy environment. So thanks for watching this one. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Hit the like button. We'll see you for the next one, okay? And check out some of the other fig reviews we've done now on the blog. See you guys for the next video. Take care.